Welcome back to One Punch Man Anime Review episode number 7. Yep, this time I'm viewing the 17th episode of the anime, The Martial Arts Tournament. And now here's the thing, I actually looked it up in this particular book right here. Yeah, pretty much the chapters for this episode are adapted from this very book. Covers pretty much chapters 58 to 61, though in the case of 6 and 61, they don't finish adapting the manga. No. For 60, they adapt all but one page. They skipped over 13 for some reason. He has a panel of Genru encountering the superhero dressed up as a dog. And of course, they cut out like a couple pages. So I think it's the atomic. No, it's a ninja. I don't think it's Speed. No, it's one of the heroes firing a bazooka at an octopus. That is not in this episode. There's a whole boatload of things happen in this episode. In the case of Saitama, well, what is he up to? Well, first time we see him, he's still in his locker room from last week's episode, and he gets banged. Now, they actually do cut out, they actually don't have the entire sequence of this from the manga. I looked up on here. They actually took out him to see him, basically, he picks things, puts on his head, seems to smile. That is not here at all. No, for some reason it's not here. You just see like up knock, and of course you hear him briefly. He puts the hair on mostly off screen, and that's it. For that, then of course they introduce him in turn. They go out there and introduce him, and of course he fights Zeros, and then he defeats him in the end credits, which pretty much just takes up I'd say, well, it's basically a 2-page spread in the manga of basically Saitama defeating Zeros. He's this arrogant fighter who gets defeated pretty easy by Saitama. Oh, one thing interesting about this episode. The first 2 minutes of this episode is adapted from the first 12 pages of chapter 58. I mean, wow. It's like, okay, usually sometimes they do for these minutes, for the screen time, usually it's not that much by pages. I'm like, my gosh. It was a whole boatload. I mean, you also have Metal Bat take on Genru for a good period of time, point where he also gets, well, his fight interrupted by Metal Bat. His little sister interrupts the fight, like, no fighting, leave, now. Of course, they promised her, like, no fighting, and they do have a slight change in wording, basically, like, why didn't you follow your rules? In the manga, he said, because I looked it up here just to refresh myself, because it's been a while since I read it. In manga, he said, why do I have to follow your family rule? And in the anime, it says, how I follow house rule. And of course, after he leaves Metal Bat walks for a bit, his little sister knocks him out briefly, and that's the last you see Metal Bat in the episode. He's nowhere for a good period of time, I'm not sure when he shows up again. Genru, of course, runs into a couple monsters who wants to join the Hero Association. Now, here's another change in the manga. Yeah, they actually changed the look of the card he's given. Yes, the card he's given, it looks completely different than the manga. Yeah, let me show you what it looks like in the manga. This is what it looks like in the manga. In the anime, it looks completely different. Yeah, of course, he pretty much does the same thing, tears it up, and yeah. And as for who this Phoenix guy is, don't know who he is, just some Phoenix monster who I think is a human in a costume, which is kind of weird. Yep. And of course he also takes out the slime guy. And after that, that's the last you see him in the episode. He doesn't really much do anything after that. Yeah, most of the heroes, one particular hero, I think it's, one gorilla who's one of the monsters. He defeats an S-class hero. We also see the episode debut of Das Us, this dominatrix demon, who only appears for this portion. Like, she appears in this episode. I think she's going to appear in the next week's episode as well, because she disappears. In case you're wondering, does she reappear after, this chapter here, and probably next week's episode as well? Yes, she does return after this. In the most recent portion of the manga, she's actually dead. She got killed by Sweet Mass in chapter 103. Yeah, she's been dead for about at least for 4 chapters now. I mean, I like this character's look. I mean, I have no problem with it. Yeah, I mean, the only thing that's demonic about her is her mouth and her eyes. That's it. That's the only thing demonic about this woman, which they call her Crossbow S. In here, The English translation of her name is Monster Princess. I gotta believe this woman is smoking hot. Apparently, ability is turn people to love slaves. Yeah, you first see her ability to use this when she's whipping like 3 heroes, having 2 of them turned against the other guy, and then they're about to kill him, and then of course the other 2 guys knocked out by the Buzzer Group. And of course, it's a bit changed basically. You also don't get a chance seeing the episode Monster Princess rear end. In the manga, you actually see her show her backside. Here, you don't see it at all. You actually you get a little more screen time than than the manga when Hellish Buzzer shows up, and she just takes off her coat and she's about to start fighting her. Of course, the fight continues on in the next chapter. And let's see what else. The Hero Association basically in panic. Oh, I actually had to dog ear this because I want to show this off here. This panel here of this monster showing up. Yeah, this one appearance of her. Yeah, in the anime they actually show her on a monitor. Yep. Now here they don't really explain why people are here, but yeah, they're just there. Now I don't think the bonus. Now there's a few bonus chapters in this particular book. I don't think they're gonna be adapted for the season. If they are, I'd be purely lucky. This is also by far this is the first episode that had the shortest amount of chapters. This is probably the first one since episode 1 to actually have the shortest, to actually have not that many full chapters. It has like the first 3 chapters, like 58, 59. These 2 chapters are fully adapted. I mean, except for some minor changes, it looks pretty much exactly the same. Excuse me. And I don't know if anybody's pointed out about Metal Bat of how his appearance is a complete ripoff of Kurabara from Yu Yu Hakusho. Appearance-wise, he looks almost exactly the same. The only difference is his hair is different style and his clothes different color. I mean, it's the same clothing style as Kurabara's not wearing, and also Knuckle from Hunter x Hunter. Yeah, the same baggy clothes, and though Kurabara is known for using Energy Sword, this Metal Bat, of course, is known for using a gray baseball bat. A metal baseball bat, mind you. Yeah, good episode nonetheless. Of course, if you don't read the manga, you're like, why is Saitama participating in martial arts instead of being these monsters? Well, read the manga, and you get a chance to understand the whole point of that. Yeah, I gotta give high praise for JC staff for this particular episode, and how much they did a really good job. And it is shocking though. Like you read this, like okay. You basically have to, if you watch this episode and you have the book next to you, and you reread like chapter 58, which starts off with, like you're shocked like how much they adapt even for 2 minutes of screen time. Yeah. Though of course the post-credit scene in this one is just unlike last week where it was anime original because I couldn't find exactly where this is taken from when they had that martial arts guy show up, Saru. This episode actually just kind of have. Well, kind of is basically his manga debut in this thing properly. The last one was kind of like an early tease for him. Yeah. But we also have Ring Ring, this woman who wears bells in her hair, and a guy who got a lightning bolt tattooed on his face. Yeah, they start to fight, and then next time you see him, apparently she has defeated him. Yeah, in case you're wondering, why was this fight just started and then just cut away to something else and come back when she's defeated? Yeah, that's actually pulled direct from the manga. That's actually not something that the animators decided to do original. That's actually straight from the manga. No change there. Yep. So yeah, that's really it for this particular review. Not much else to say. Just a pretty damn good episode. Also, almost forgot to mention the giant centipede monster. Yeah, who doesn't? I mean, they also have Metal Knight pop up in here. He fires missiles at the damn thing, and of course, they do nothing to him. And of course, as he disappears, Metal Knight just straps up onto him, and that's where you last see him. Yep, it's almost like if you look at the most recent chapters for One Punch Man, you're just having the characters just kill off like all the monsters show up in this arc. Yeah, it's like all the demons show up in this arc. Okay, they show up here, and they do much more for them for quite a while until this most recent set of chapters for this particular arc. Yep. So yeah, as for this episode, this book is mostly done. Yep. So yeah, so that's it for this particular review. I'm about to do my 70th episode of my movie review, where I'm talking about the last Star Trek film released. Released 3 years ago. Yep. You'll find out you'll find my thoughts on that film in the next video. Okay. So see you there. Bye.